I'll make a motion that we, set this budget for final approval.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjust the transfer from the general fund to the building fund to an amount of $10 million. Have a second?
Don't we have to second one for that?
All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve the final budget. I'm considering his motion a motion to amend.
I'm trying to second to your motion.
You seconded it?
Did you?
All right, so,
I was making a motion to that.
the question is, do you have a second? If you don't, then Phelps will like a second.
Do we need to close the motion on the table out before making a new motion?
No, I'm considering it a motion to amend the motion. Is that what I said?
I second it. We should open up discussion.
Any discussion about amending the motion to approve the final budget by reducing what?
The $10 million in the transfer from general fund to building. The reason that I recommend doing such is that I have a problem, I had it for some time, that we're going into both pockets of the taxpayer for a building program. I realize that there are times when transferring money out of the general fund is appropriate and needed, but I don't believe that this is the time or place to do it. We've made it a common occurrence to do this over multiple years. I think this would put it up to close to 80 million district side. Is that about right, if we approve 20 million?
I believe so.
And I don't like making that a common occurrence. We have SPOS for a reason, and to go into the property taxes and also pay for the building fund is a problem for me. I think it's a problem for a lot of my constituents who I've spoken to. We are in 5 years into a 10-year building program. We have spent essentially what we said we wanted to spend for 10 years in 5 years. That is a problem for me. We have to pivot. And I encourage the rest of the board members to consider pivoting. When I say pivoting, that doesn't mean Philip Kent, District 1 board member is against the building program. Okay, that is not at all. I want the building program. I believe that the board members that are here, the majority of them here, have been able to oversee the current building program for the last 5 years. We have 10 more. I think it's only fair we have a new board that's coming on board January 1, that they have an opportunity to talk about and discuss what's going to happen for the next 5 years in the building program. We all know about the pandemic. We all know what we went through with COVID. We know that inflation hit pretty hard. Things changed when we decided to enter into this building program on day one. If I was sitting in this chair and day one when we devised this building program, I would have been all in favor of it, 100%. But when things change drastically and we can't catch up with inflation and we're putting a building program in front of teachers' pay, and what we've kind of done, it creates a problem when we have a running list of maintenance things, and oh, you're going to get a building improvement, a major building overhaul, hold on tight. It creates problems for me, and I understand when other schools that haven't been rebuilt yet, and they look at Lakeside or they look at Evans, which are beautiful schools, they're doing a magnificent job, they're awesome places. But when you look at those here, where's my renovation? Where's my add-on? Why did they get the Performing Arts Center and we haven't gotten it yet? Is Philip up here saying we don't want to have it? No, absolutely not. You deserve to have it. Absolutely. We built projects. We haven't finished some and we started others. I just think that we need to reassess, like I've mentioned in past board meetings, what we're doing here. $20 million is quite a bit out of a general fund towards a building program. It raises some flags for me. Why do we need to do this? What have we been putting off? What have we not been doing? Have we overstepped our bounds on what we're doing with this building program? I like it in the essence of compromise, if you will, with the rest of my board members. While I think it should be much less than that out of the general fund on transfer, I'm entertaining this motion to go somewhere in the middle at $10 million. If for some reason we decide as a board that the superintendent says that we need additional dollars up to the $20 million, come to us and ask for it. And give us a good reason, which I know you will. And then we will discuss additional transfers. Anyone else like to share any comments?
Yes, I'd like to jump in on that. I just want to clarify that based on the list that we received, that $20 million, and it says 20.9, just for clarification, that 900,000 gets transferred to the workers' compensation fund, so when we say 20 million, it's a little bit broken up, but that 20 million, according to the list that we were given for how that will be allocated, that is not, based on the list we were given, going to be used for Greenbrier or Harlem. So not doing that transfer should not affect the Greenbrier or Harlem projects. If it is going to affect those projects, then we have another conversation to have as to why we need to transfer money when we just receive bonds for those projects. My second concern is that this list of maintenance that we need $20 million for to justify this transfer to the SPOS general or building fund includes maintenance things such as painting schools, replacing carpets, fire alarm systems, drinking fountains. These are routine maintenance items. And when I look at our maintenance and operations budget, it's at $39.8 million. 5 years ago, just for comparison, 5 years ago, it was at $21.8 million 5 years ago. So we have already nearly doubled that budget. And I had asked at a previous meeting for a breakdown of what that's covering, because if we need another $20 million, we need to have a conversation on why our maintenance and operations at such an exorbitant level. I did not receive those answers. So now I'm being asked to make a decision on transferring money when I did not receive those answers. On the second point of answers and the information I did not receive that I'd asked for is, in preparation for this vote, I requested the projected amounts to be spent for the high school projects over the next 3 fiscal years. I already have FY27, I need 28 and 29. We have major projects that are starting, and if we can't look at our budget and give an estimate as to what we plan to spend for these projects over the next 3 fiscal years, that's also a bigger problem. And transferring $20 million over to another account without figuring that problem out, we need to have a conversation. But I'm with Mr. Kent in the sense that we need to be speaking about this, hence my second. I think that number needs to be 900,000. And if we need more money for the building fund for any reason, as a board, we can approve that item by item throughout the year and make that determination. And in the meantime, let's just keep the general fund budget separate from the building fund so that we're not double dipping, as Mr. Kent has said, and so that we can have oversight as to why we keep having to supplement our building fund. Now, my numbers, I went through my numbers at the previous 2 budget hearings. For those who are interested, you can go back and re-listen to those. I've already shared the concern. Our financial audits show that the 2022 eSPOS program was originally estimated at $160 million. Currently, for the most recent financial document for 2025, the current estimated costs are $313.5 million. That money's coming from somewhere. If we're spending $313 million, that's coming from somewhere. I think this is where it's coming from in the general fund. And what that means is come military time, something's gotta give. It's a formula. Those are my comments. I cannot approve this budget with the $20 million transfer because I have not had my financial questions answered. And I'm being told that those numbers don't exist, which is an even bigger problem.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes, I think that list was pretty daunting when I first looked at it. And it is right, and like I said, it was sort of daunting. 20 million is always a daunting number to me. But then I realized it's part of the building program. It's phase 3. And as we knew from the beginning, the phases were not going to be done in numerical order. We were not going to wait until phase 1 was completed to do phase 2, or phase 2 was completed to do phase 3. They would be done simultaneously. So we're not waiting until 1 and 2 are done to tackle 3, and the situation is worse. Do I have that right? Okay. So if we transfer $20 million at this point in time, where does that leave our reserve fund?
As it showed there, so 83.8 million, which we always like to look at it as a percent, which is right below 20. So you're still you're within your
So we have
strike
emergency,
levels.
we have emergency funds.
Yep.
Okay, is that going to make the state happy with the amount that we normally keep in there?
Yes, I mean, I don't know what'll make the state happy, but it's within that new 25%.
Well, I keep hearing different numbers,
That they
so.
put in that law.
Are you comfortable with that number, that percentage amount that would be in the reserve fund?
20% is a very good reserve for a school district.
Okay.
Yeah, this list of building needs that was prepared by our, what department prepared these?
It was both facilities and maintenance.
Facility maintenance.
But,
Yeah.
but remember, that is part of the 10-year plan.
Right, and our East Plus revenues are not sufficient to cover all of our building needs, am I correct?
They were never intended to be, were they?
And is it unusual for school districts to use general fund money, to maintain their capital, their buildings and all?
No, and it was the only way school districts could before East lost the law in the 80s, I think it was, 90s was passed, 96.
Okay, and refresh my memory, the money we get from the state originally comes from where?
In QBE,
Oh, yes, where do QBE funds come from?
tax money,
Tax money, which comes from,
taxpayers.
right, okay, the money we get from property tax comes from,
Property tax owners?
which comes from taxpayers.
Taxpayers.
So all of our money comes from taxpayers, right?
Yes.
So, any other comments before we call the question?
Dr. Flynn, or Mr. Casada, what is our, for the building program, I know they've mentioned, Greenbrier and the projects we have for there, where, if the 20 million is not approved, I know Ms. Allen, stated that it's part of that, can you just give us a little more information on her comment as far as how that affects the Greenbrier project if the 10 million? Or, no, if the 10 million is accepted and not the 20 million.
There's no effect to Greenbrier. We, as you recall, sold bonds specifically for that project, and that money is in the bank, ready to go.
I think what would happen would be, someone would have to pick and choose which of these projects would be done this year, and which ones would have to be put off until next year, or the next year, or the next year.
It would
delay anything?
It would delay half of these projects.
We really shouldn't be in this position, I don't think. I think we sort of put ourselves in this position, and it's unfortunate.
No, we didn't put ourselves in these positions. Let's review for just 1 second.
Please.
Okay, for a number of years, we were busy building a school a year or 2 schools a year. So major maintenance like painting, things that were not an absolute necessity. If the air conditioning was work, it was not upgraded. Okay, we didn't necessarily keep up with things that would be beneficial, that would keep it from being a greater expense later, because we were opening schools. For instance, the year Greenbrier opened in 96, we opened 3, as I recall, Greenbrier Middle, Greenbrier High, Greenbrier Elementary, and Uchi Creek. Somebody check that, I might be wrong. So, I mean, we were building new schools. So we were doing a bare minimum of maintenance on existing schools. Okay, since in recent times, we have been rebuilding 50-year-old schools. Okay, and we're still doing maintenance as we can, but part of the building program is to actually now do maintenance on a much larger scale that has been overlooked in the past. So it's not like we have been ignoring anything. We've been doing as much as we can for as long as we can, and now it's time to get to the basic needs of maintenance on a larger scale.
I like programs. I like spending money on programs that are very important to the schools. I think the teachers want that too. I like spending money on the teachers when they need the pay. I think putting a slight pivot in the building program, I love the building program, but it needs to be adjusted slightly. Does not hamper our ability in any way. And it actually frees up some money to do some maintenance on some things that we need to do to cut down on that list. So your argument is just not convincing me, unfortunately.
I never thought I would.
More points of rebuttal before we move on. East Plus revenues are not sufficient. I want to address that comment because when we brought the building program to the community, the belief was that the East Plus monies would be sufficient. The fact that they are no longer sufficient means that something changed. From my numbers and from what our audit report says, what changed was we went over budget. We spent more on schools than we had coming in through East Plus, and then we had to start supplementing from the general fund. That's contrary to the spirit of the East Plus law, which says we're freeing up the general fund due to this other revenue. But if you get that other revenue and then you increase your spending, all you're doing is you're now having 2 sources of revenue as you expand beyond your budget. Third of all, the phase 3 plan was East Lost dollars, so now to say we have to dip into the general fund to do phase 3, again, shows a problem. I do not understand, I've not received answers yet as to why our maintenance budget has nearly doubled in 5 years, yet we have not been able to keep up with maintenance projects. Where's that money going?
The cost of
This
maintenance.
is why I asked, I need these answers.
I think, and I can, without running the, very specifics, you're, of all those categories up there, you look at them, I feel pretty confident in saying that maintenance and operations is your one that has been, influenced or impacted the most by all the inflation we have been seeing, since, COVID, and we keep talking about that. So all those same things we've seen in construction, many of those same things, tariffs, all the HVAC, all those things have gone sky high. And that's reflected in this budget too. Also the efforts, our custodians are in there, and we have made some custodial pay adjustments over the last few years. We've added more custodians to try to get our numbers back to where they were pre-COVID, and even during the Great Recession, we're still lower than we were then. So I think that is part of the answer as well. Property insurance, which is in that function, has gone double probably for the school district. Not because of the new buildings, but because it's doubled for me personally, and probably most of us sitting up here on our own homes in that time frame as well. So just off the top of my head, at a very general broad level, I think that's the reason why you see that function in particular swinging, growing maybe more than you are seeing the others.
Yes, I have one last question.
Yes,
Okay, money that's in the reserve fund is drawing good interest, I assume?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, if we transfer it to the building fund, will we lose interest?
No.
Okay, so it will still draw interest there?
So general fund will lose the interest the money would have earned in the general fund, but the building program will earn the interest, but it'll be earning the same amount of money, if you will, because it's all with the same investment group.
All right, well, let's vote on Mr. Kent's motion to amend. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. All right, Mr. Kent's motion to amend fails.
I make a motion to amend.
Excuse me, fails 4-1. So the motion on the floor now is to approve the final budget.
So I make a motion to amend this budget with a different amendment to have outgoing transfers be 900,000.
You second that? Okay. Any further discussion?
I think this would reflect a compromise where we are open to transferring this money in the future, project by project, as we have discussions. And hopefully, as a board member, I can receive the financial information I need so that I can participate in those discussions moving further, because it is not proper, especially in light of our recent GSBA training, financial training, to expect board members to make decisions of this magnitude when their financial questions have not been answered and they have not been provided the information that they have specifically requested to make this decision.
All in favor of Ms. Allen's motion to amend, raise your right hand.
Just want to make a comment on that. I felt like 10 million was a compromise, but certainly I don't like the 20 million. So to me, the board, the superintendent can come back to us for additional dollars. So I would support Katie and Endeavor on this motion.
Okay. Call for the question. All in favor of Ms. Allen's motion to amend, raise your right hand. All opposed? Her motion fails 2-3. All right.
So we're still
So
on.
excuse me, got a motion on, let's talk about the motion to approve the final budget.
I have a discussion point for that motion.
It's up for discussion.
Okay, my discussion point on what is the need to make that transfer and approving this budget tonight versus doing it project by project. What is the argument that we must do it all in one lump sum tonight versus project by project throughout the fiscal year.
One thing is, we don't have to listen to you as much.
Do you want to set up that line?
I apologize. I apologize. I apologize.
Mr. Casado, do you feel comfortable with this budget? You presented it, I'm assuming you work with committees.
At the end of the day, the fund balance, as we've discussed, is at the 20%, area. And so I think that is something that most school districts wish they had.
Do you think 20 million, I'm assuming this is a guesstimation because
It is.
the projects aren't done, do we foresee it being lower, do we foresee it being up higher? I mean, will you come back with us, should there be any changes like always, and we will approve each one of these?
Well, not the tiny ones, but like the bigger ones, yeah, we would
So we
absolutely.
did
By
have
your-
involvement on this 20 million.
By your policy, we would bring that over.
Okay,
It's over 100,000.
so it's not like a rough stamp, we'll give you $20 million and you fit what you want.
No, we'll have to bring the actual things back if there are those thresholds.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of final approval of the proposed budget, as recommended by our CFO, as presented, please raise your right hand. All opposed? All right, the budget is approved, 3-2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.